Paracris is 6 p.m. Time for CBX Business News.
The business news headlines is brought to you by CBX Wealth Management, making more possible.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
It's Tuesday, May 27, 2025. Hello, welcome to CBX Business News. I'm Yanil Wood. Thank you for joining us. In our local news today, BOJ governor urges banks to cut their lending rates amid rising customer demands. Meanwhile, central bank requires legislative power to compel banks to lower their lending rates, says Governor Biles. And Jamaica advances strategic tourism partnerships in Europe and the U.S. to boost economic growth. In regional business news, U.S.-sanctioned businessman Azruddin Mohammed enters Guyana's residential race amid upcoming elections. Anguilla's government unveils EC $100,000 grant program to support micro and small businesses. And Bermuda's Tourism Investment Act expands to boost key sectors and local employment. And in international business news, Trump administration clashes with Harvard, billions in funding at risk amid crackdown on international programs. Meanwhile, markets diverge sharply as oil slumps, equities and crypto rally amid trade optimism. And Salesforce to acquire Informatica in $8 billion deal to boost AI data capabilities. Stay with us. The news in detail right after our first break.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
Introducing the Corporate Services Unit, your go-to experts for corporate secretarial solutions. We offer statutory compliance, efficient minute taking, registered office address services, management of board and members meetings, setup and maintenance of corporate registers. Stay ahead with our proactive approach to new regulations. We operate under the Trust and Corporate Service Provider, licensed to the JCSD Trustee Services Limited. We're here to simplify your corporate journey, no matter the size of your company. Contact the Corporate Service Unit today and let's streamline your compliance journey together, because your success is our business.
Wealth is not simply counted in dollars or cents, but in the time we spend with love, in love, giving love. Wealth is not simply a means to an end. It is the means to live out loud. Wealth is more than money. It's about family, the memories you create, the legacy you leave behind, and your ability to enjoy life in the moment. It's also about seeing the QMAX possibilities and seizing investment opportunities to achieve the future you want and deserve. Which is why QMAX Wealth will focus on your investments so you can experience more. Because true wealth is truly more. To start investing today, call 876-926-7767.
The local news is brought to you by Darriman Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. And now, the details.
Let me say, they are your customers. I'm speaking to the commercial banks. Can you give them some relief? The Bank of Jamaica has cut 1.25%. You should be in a position to make a cut also.
That was Bank of Jamaica BOJ Governor Richard Biles making an impassioned plea to Jamaica's commercial banks to follow the central bank's lead by reducing the policy interest rate and cutting lending rates to their customers. Last week, the BOJ's Monetary Policy Committee, MPC, unanimously decided to lower its policy interest rate by 25 basis points, moving it from 6 to 5.75% per annum, effective May 21. Responding to questions during last week's monetary policy press briefing held at the Jamaica Conference Center in downtown Kingston, Governor Biles indicated that they will be meeting with members of the commercial banks to make it clear that they want rates to chunk down.
We will certainly be expressing to the banks that this rate cut, which is coming even before the Fed has given consideration to a cut, that we see this as a signal, a powerful signal to them that we want rates to chunk down, to come down. We are going to be meeting with the commercial banks, and I'm saying to the public that we think the conditions are there for the commercial banks to look at those loans that experience an increase or that were put on at a higher rate than their other loans. Look at those and see whether you cannot give some relief to your customers.
The governor explained how interest rates impact different types of loans and emphasized that customers with variable rate loans are especially vulnerable to high borrowing costs.
Many loans, and I've said this before, but let me say it again. Many loans from the commercial banks were fixed rate loans. And to that extent, those customers did not feel an increase in the price of loans. That's a fact. We have the data on that. Some clients who borrowed after we started to increase interest rates did get an increase in their rates because I guess the bank's eyes wide open saw that the central bank was on an upward movement of interest rates, and they did not put on any more fixed rates, and they began to adjust new rates to a higher level. Those customers, I think, are eligible for review of their rates because we have cut rates now cumulatively 1.25% from the high of 7%.
And when pressed about the central bank's ability to ensure that commercial banks lower their lending rates, Governor Biles stressed that legislation would be needed to give the BOJ authority to enforce such action.
And for us to do that, we need to have a thing called legislative power. We need to have that right. However, we have a market economy. We opted to accept a market economy. Same way I can't tell a supermarket about their prices, I cannot tell the banks about their prices. This is a free market. What we can do is give them the signal and talk to them and encourage them, and that is what we're doing.
He also noted that the BOJ is currently working on making it easier for customers to transfer their accounts from one bank to another,
as well as doing work to make customers be able to port their accounts from one bank to another bank, making it easier for KYC data to be available to all customers and all banks. That takes a little time, but we are working on it.
BOJ Governor Richard Biles. In other news, Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett has embarked on a high-level overseas mission to Spain and the United States, aimed at strengthening Jamaica's tourism sector through strategic partnerships, investment attraction, and policy leadership. This move underscores the country's commitment to enhancing its competitive edge in the global tourism market, a vital driver of the nation's economy. Between May 26 and 28, Minister Bartlett will hold key discussions with tourism stakeholders in Palma de Mallorca, Spain, focusing on improving local tourism linkages, enhancing service delivery, and increasing resilience against global travel disruptions. These efforts are critical to sustaining and growing the island's tourism revenue, which remains a cornerstone of the country's foreign exchange earnings and employment. Following the meetings, Minister Bartlett will participate in the 123rd session of the Executive Council of UN Tourism in Segovia, Spain, from May 29 to 30. The council session will include key discussions such as appointing the next UN Tourism Secretary General, a position that can influence international tourism agendas beneficial to Jamaica and the Caribbean. Bartlett will conclude the trip at Caribbean Week 2025 in New York, engaging investors and diaspora leaders under the theme Caribbean Resilience, Crafting Tomorrow's Tourism. He is scheduled to deliver the keynote address at the CTO Leadership Luncheon on June 2. Now to foreign currency trading news. At the end of currency trading on Tuesday, the US dollar is selling for $159.84, the Canadian for $116.18, and the pound sterling for $218.88. The going rate for the euro is $183.20. Next to trading news from the Jamaica Stock Exchange. 109 stocks traded on the JSE Tuesday, of which 56 advanced, 34 declined, and 19 traded firm. Leading the winners were Dollar Financial Services, Main Event Entertainment, MPC Caribbean Clean Energy, and Guardian Holdings, while the losers were led by JPS 7%, Cygnus Real Estate Finance US Dollar, Cayley Group, and Pulse Investments. Now the main index advanced by 3,241.16 points, or 1.02%, to close at 321,514.67. The junior market index also advanced, but by 60.94, or 1.79%, to close at 3,473.52. Now to some company news. Proven Group has declared a dividend of US $0.001 per share. Ordinary shareholders who have requested payment in Jamaican dollars will receive the equivalent of Jamaican $0.15889 per share. Proven says that the dividend is payable on July 2 to shareholders on record as at June 18 this year, which is also the ex-dividend date.
The market education feature was brought to you by CARICRIS, Regional Ratings, Global Standards.
In today's market education feature, we're going to be looking at a term, SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is an acronym for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and is a strategic planning tool used to assess a company's competitive position. It examines both internal factors, strengths and weaknesses, and external factors, opportunities and threats, taking into account current conditions and future possibilities. The purpose of a SWOT analysis is to provide a clear, objective, and data-driven understanding of an organization's key advantages, internal challenges, growth prospects, and potential risks within its industry or in relation to a specific project or initiative.
The market education feature was brought to you by CARICRIS, Regional Ratings, Global Standards.
And that's it for market education feature and the end of the local segment. Please stay with us. The regional business news is up next.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
The local news is brought to you by Darriman Trading, better from the start. Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean flavors and fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
Welcome back. We go now to news from across the region. In a dramatic turn of events with potential ramifications for Guyana's business climate and international relations, Azruddin Mohammed, a prominent local businessman recently sanctioned by the United States, has declared his candidacy for the presidency in the upcoming general and regional elections scheduled for September 1. Mohammed, a well-known figure in Guyana's business sector, through the Team Mohammed's brand, made the announcement via video message posted to his organization's official Facebook page on Monday during the country's 58th Independence Day celebrations. The declaration came less than 24 hours after President Dr. Irfan Ali formally announced the election date, intensifying anticipation ahead of what is shaping up to be a high-stakes electoral contest.
Standing on the shoulders of the architects of our independence and the outpouring of public demand, I am stepping forward today as a young man with a vision for a new Guyana. It is with great honor and humility that I officially declare my candidacy for President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana in the upcoming elections this September 1st, 2025. I remain committed to serving with diplomacy, integrity, and unfaltering dedication to the people of Guyana.
Guyana businessman Azruddin Mohammed. Mohammed's candidacy comes as he faces significant legal troubles both internationally and domestically. The U.S. Treasury Department's Office of Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, recently sanctioned Mohammed, alleging that he evaded over US $50 million in taxes related to more than 10,000 kilograms of gold exports. In addition, Mohammed is due in a local court on May 29 to answer a criminal charge of making a false customs declaration. The charge involves a luxury Lamborghini, which was allegedly declared at US $75,300, far below its actual market value of US $695,000. A related civil case is also ongoing in the High Court, adding another layer of legal and now political uncertainty. The government of Anguilla has announced a new initiative aimed at bolstering the island's micro and small businesses. A total of 100,000 Eastern Caribbean dollars has been allocated for business development and general support. Speaking during a press conference on Monday, Minister of Economic Development, Investment and Commerce, Kyle Hodge, says this initiative targets several key challenges faced by small enterprises, including limited access to finance and gaps in technology adoption.
From the Economic Development Unit, we have been allocated a sum of 100,000 EC dollars from the Ministry of Finance, and that is for business development and general business support. It's support for micro and small size businesses. The maximum grant per applicant is 10,000 EC dollars per successful applicant. The program aims to address several challenges, including limited access to finance, technology adoption gap, skills development, market research, and sustainability challenges.
He's encouraging interested applicants to submit their proposals to the Department of Economic Development.
So here's a great opportunity for anyone owning a micro business, a small business, whether you're experiencing cash flow issues, whether you want to increase your stock, or whether you want to expand. Here's an opportunity to write in to Department of Economic Development and have a chance to be able to get a grant. And bear in mind, a grant is not something that you pay back. A grant is something that is gifted to you. Of course, there'll be some strict requirements and some monitoring that will take place to make sure that the grant that you're getting is used within your business.
The Economic Development Minister also outlined the criteria applicants must meet to qualify for the grant.
The criteria is you have to be wholly owned by an Anguillan permanent resident for a minimum of 3 years. You have to operate a micro or small business that is based in Anguilla. Existing businesses must be registered, of course, with a valid business license, and your business must fall within the classification of SMEs, micro and small enterprises.
Anguilla's Minister of Economic Development, Investment and Commerce, Kyle Hodge. In other news, the government of Bermuda is advancing its commitment to economic diversification and local workforce development by expanding the scope of the Tourism Investment Act originally enacted in 2017. Making his ministerial statement in Parliament on Monday, Minister of Tourism Owen Darrell says this legislative expansion aims to extend full tax concessions and investment incentives to additional critical sectors, including smaller guest houses and health and medical tourism facilities.
This expansion aims to include additional critical sectors such as smaller guest houses and health and medical tourism facilities, making them also eligible for the full range of concessions available under the Act. Madam Acting Speaker, the government is keen to invest in tourism as well as Bermudians. This is exemplified by the Tourism Investment Act, which underscores our dedication to building a resilient, a diverse, and sustainable Bermuda. We are committed to creating an environment that attracts innovative investments, supports our community, and ensures that Bermuda remains a premier destination in global tourism.
Bermuda's Minister of Tourism, Owen Darrell. And from Bermuda, we go to Trinidad and Tobago, where we look at the trading news from the TTSE. 19 securities traded on the TTSE Tuesday, of which 5 advanced, 7 declined, and 7 traded firm. Leading the winners were Guardian Holdings, Trinidad and Tobago NGL, National Enterprises, and Massey Holdings, while the losers were led by Trinidad Cement, Scotiabank TNT, the West Indian Tobacco Company, and Calypso Macro Index Fund. Other results include the All TNT Index declining by 3.21 to close at 1,526.32. The Composite Index declining by 1.66 to close at 1,041.67. And the Cross-Listed Index and the SME Index remained unchanged at 73.21 and 91.76 respectively. And we go for a short break, but please don't touch that dial. After this break, Nielsen Rose will have the international business stories.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
We get it. We get the big contract. 50,000 units a month for 3 years. Great. We need help.
If you are a business owner that requires capital for the expansion of your business, talk to a registered broker today to find out more about listing your company on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, an efficient alternative to other financing options.
Thank God for the Jamaica Stock Exchange Junior Market.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange, providing a fair, efficient, and transparent stock market.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. In the international news today, tensions between the Trump administration and Harvard University have reached a boiling point as President Trump moves to cut billions in federal funding and impose sweeping restrictions on the university's international student programs. In a series of policy moves and public statements, Trump has accused Harvard of promoting elitist ideology, fostering anti-Semitism, and maintaining ties with foreign adversaries, particularly the Chinese Communist Party. The administration has already frozen $2.2 billion in federal funds grants and is now threatening to redirect an additional $3 billion to trade schools and vocational programs. The Department of Homeland Security has revoked Harvard's authorization to enroll international students, affecting more than 6,700 students from abroad. The administration has demanded a full list of these students, including their countries of origin, citing national security concerns. In response, Harvard has filed a federal lawsuit challenging the legality of the funding cuts and student restrictions. On May 23, 2025, a federal judge issued a temporary restraining order blocking the Trump administration from revoking Harvard's certification to enroll international students and sponsor international scholars. The judge, U.S. District Judge Alison D. Burrow, ruled that the administration's actions could cause immediate and irreparable injury to the university and its students. The escalating conflict has sparked widespread debate across the academic and political spectrum. Critics warn that the administration's actions could damage the global reputation of U.S. universities and deter international talent. Supporters, however, argue that the measures are necessary to hold elite institutions accountable and prioritize domestic interest. As the legal battle unfolds, the outcome could have far-reaching implications for federal education policy, immigration, and the future of international collaboration in the U.S. academia. Financial markets are showing a striking divergence to start the week, with crude oil prices and bond yields falling, while equities and cryptocurrencies continue to rally amid shifting investor sentiment and easing trade tensions. Crude oil prices dropped to around $61.77 per barrel, extending a downward trend that has seen prices fall more than 13% year to date. The decline comes amid rising inventories in the U.S. and renewed concerns over global demand, despite geopolitical tensions in key oil-producing regions. At the same time, bond yields edge lower, reflecting increased demand for safe haven assets and expectations that central banks may hold off on further tightening. The U.S. 10-year Treasury yield slipped below 3.9%, its lowest level in over a month. In contrast, equity markets are on the rise. The S&P TSX Composite Index hit the 26,000 mark, buoyed by optimism over delayed U.S. tariffs on European goods and strong Canadian retail and inflation data. U.S. stock futures also pointed higher, despite markets being closed for the Memorial Day holiday. Meanwhile, cryptocurrencies are enjoying renewed momentum.
Bitcoin surged past 109,000, while Ethereum climbed above the 3,800 mark as investors rotate into riskier assets amid a more dovish macroeconomic outlook and growing institutional interests. Analysts say the current market split reflects a complex mix of easing trade fears, shifting monetary policy expectations, and sector-specific optimism, particularly in tech and digital assets. Salesforce has announced a definitive agreement to acquire Informatica, a leading provider of AI-powered cloud data management solutions. In a deal valued at approximately $8 billion, the acquisition marks Salesforce's largest acquisition since its $27.7 billion purchase of Slack in 2021 and underscores its commitment to building a robust foundation for enterprise AI. Under the terms of the agreement, Salesforce will pay $25 per share in cash to holders of Informatica's Class A and Class B common stock, an 11% premium over Informatica's last closing price. The acquisition is aimed at enhancing Salesforce's data cloud and AI ecosystem by integrating Informatica's advanced capabilities in data integration governance, quality, privacy, and metadata management. The combined platform is expected to provide a uniform architecture for deploying agentic AI, an autonomous AI agent that operates safely and responsibly at scale. Together, Salesforce and Informatica will create the most complete AI agent-ready data platform in the industry, said Mark Beinoff, Chair and CEO of Salesforce. This will significantly strengthen our position in the $150 billion plus enterprise data market. Informatica CEO Amit Walia called the deal a significant leap forward in helping businesses unlock the full value of their data in the AI era. The acquisition is expected to accelerate Salesforce's reach in key sectors such as public services, healthcare, life sciences, and financial services. The boards of both companies have approved the transaction, which is expected to close early in fiscal year 2027, pending regulatory approvals and customary closing conditions. European stocks continued their upward momentum on Tuesday, with the Stoxx 50 and Stoxx 600 both rising 0.5%, building on Monday's 1% gain. Germany's DAX 40 climbed 0.7%, nearing the 24,200 mark and setting fresh record highs, buoyed by optimism over a delayed US-EU tariff decision and encouraging economic data. However, investor enthusiasm over former President Trump's postponed 50% tariff on EU imports began to fade, prompting a search for new market drivers. On the macro front, Germany's GfK consumer confidence improved, albeit less than forecasted, while French inflation unexpectedly eased to 0.7%. Defense stock outperformed following Trump's announcement of a potential new sanctions on Russia. Notable gainers included Rolls-Royce up 2.9%, Rheinmetall up 1.8%, BAE Systems up 1.7%, and Safran 0.5% up. Other strong performers included ASML Holdings 1%, Shell up 1.2%, and Airbus up 1.2%. And those were your international business stories. After the break, join Neil for your recap.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
It's feeling so good right now. Feeling so good right now. Yeah, yeah. It's feeling so good right now. Feeling so good right now. Yeah, yeah. It's feeling so good right now. Don't never ever ever wanna calm down. No, no, no. Yeah, yeah.
not for the Jamaica Stock Exchange listing, Phosphate Company Limited would not be where it's at today.
FESCO started from 5 shareholders who believe that they could execute a fuel company as good as or as better than any multinational.
Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances. I have seen that our company has expanded tremendously after being listed.
Our experience so far has translated into additional customers.
Being listed on the stock exchange allows us a certain prestige. It also speaks to accountability and transparency.
Our transparency has allowed us to access credit easier and at better rates.
We have expanded in terms of our customer base, in terms of our suppliers.
All the fears I had about banks, about losing control, you are having them. And I tell you, they were dissipated when I spoke to the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
So if you're a private company thinking about growing your profits, having better access to capital, I really think you should consider listing on the junior or the main market.
You may have fears in listing on the main market or the junior market of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Whatever those fears are, we can help you to allay them. Give us a call today. Our friendly professional staff will help you through the process. Let us have that conversation. Give us that call.
Go ahead, have that conversation as soon as possible. We did it and we're very happy.
Make that call now.
You will be glad you did.
Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances Limited has been a part of Jamaica's manufacturing landscape for over 20 years. By crafting unique flavors and fragrances, we have become a part of your favorite household and food items such as beverages, ice cream, household cleaners, and much more. Known throughout the Caribbean for the highest quality, we continue to innovate with strong leadership, a dedicated team with integrity. We go the extra mile for our customers. Create the next taste sensation. Contact us at 876-9235-111 or visit our website, Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn pages.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
Welcome back, and now the recap. BOJ Governor Richard Biles urges banks to cut their lending rates, and central bank requires legislative power to compel banks to lower their lending rates, says Governor Biles. In regional business news, U.S.-sanctioned businessman Azruddin Mohammed enters Guyana's presidential race, and Anguilla's government unveils EC $100,000 MSMEs grant program. And internationally, Trump targets Harvard funding over international programs, and Salesforce to acquire Informatica in $8 billion deal. Those were the stories making today's CBX Evening News. On behalf of Nielsen Rose and the entire production team, I'm Yanil Wood, wishing you a splendid evening and pleasant viewing.
Alphabet down 6, Microsoft down 5.
Hi, my name is Almondo Cox, the founder and CEO of Resolve IT, value-added technology solutions company. You're watching CBX, your region, your business, your source.
Hi, my name is Amashika Lauren. You're watching CBX, and I just want to wish all the parents, all the teachers, all the children a happy Child's Month.
Hi, Kevin Powell, Principal of the Jamaica Stock Exchange eCampus.
I'm Melva Armstrong and I instruct 3 courses. As a matter of fact, we don't call it instructors, we call it lead learners, which is awesome. I thought that name is awesome for anywhere you're teaching. So 3 courses. I teach risk management, which is a part of a British certification. I also teach fundamentals of money markets, and I teach corporate structures and procedures.
Dr. Horace Williams, and I do the module on financial planning and wealth management for eCampus.
I'm Karen Mellish Fisher. I lecture in the Compliance and Information Governance module of the Jamaica Stock Exchange e-learning campus.
My name is Anne-Marie White. I am an adjunct lecturer for the Company Compliance and Administration course.
Financial literacy is not only critical in Jamaica, it's critical worldwide, because financial literature means it gives persons information about finances. And so when I'm teaching all 3 courses, I can show students, or not students, learners, the proper classification learners, exactly what is in it for them, meaning that they need knowledge about how they can monitor their finances so that they can make themselves financially free.
It is very important because we are in a world where money is important to everybody. And they need to understand how it works, what to do with it. It's not just to be able to go to the supermarket and to spend, but you need to understand how you earn, how you save, how to make it work for you.
Money answereth all things, says the Bible, right? And so financial literacy is very important for people to understand how to deal and handle with this precious commodity called money. And so as we look at financial literacy, we're talking about how do we go about ensuring that we continue to maintain and create more wealth for you as an individual, but also for the society in large. So I think everyone needs to understand, have a full understanding of the value of money and how to make more money and how to ensure that you create generational wealth for you and your family.
The most important one is investments. And why investments? So in understanding that concept, is what are the vehicles that I should be looking at in investing in. So I should understand what are stocks, how do I acquire stocks, and what are the benefits of acquiring stocks.
I think every Jamaican should understand the concept of budgeting. Not just to listen to the news to hear about the budget for the year when the Minister of Finance presents it. But if we understand the concept of budgeting, we'll be better able to manage our finances. Too often, many people spend more than they earn.
I think the most important of them is the whole concept of time value of money. And when I say time value of money, I'm talking about present value and future value. So what we're looking in time value of money, we're looking at $1 today. That's the concept. $1 today is worth more than $1 tomorrow. Why is that so? And it is so because if we get $1 today, and $1 is small, but we're talking about if you have $1 million, $1 today you can invest it immediately and you can get interest on it. $1 tomorrow you'd have lost the interest that you earn today.
Financial education has impacted students' lives in a very important way. It has taught them the value of just making goals and setting those goals for your own individual self, for your career, for your, for your professional development and your pathway. And so, as you know, the multiplier effect of money, once you understand how money works, once you understand the value of money, once you understand the intrinsic nature of how to make more money, then it's important that it builds and sustains not just you personally, but also the community and the island of Jamaica at large.
So it is not only about it impacting their career, it's about it impacting their life now. Because if it is that I can let them see how practical, and that is important. Sometimes you have all of these big theories and people will get a little bit, this is a theory, but it has an impact. If you can break it down so that they can understand how this will impact them now and enable them to be better in the future, it makes so much more sense to them.
Oh, Teachers' Day is such a lovely day. You give back to the persons who helped you to achieve what you are today. Teachers' Day is something that we applaud the JSE in honoring all those who have impacted the lives of persons.
As an educator, Teachers' Day is a very crucial day in the life of any professional teacher. It's the day that we get to reflect upon the value of the profession. It's a day when we understand how important our role is in society. My mentor of many years ago told me, teach and inspire. And since I've started this journey through education and being a principal and being involved in education and training, I've understood that I play an immense role in shaping the minds of individuals, both at the tertiary level, the secondary level, whatever the level is, that they should go out and be better versions of themselves. Because when broke pocket go, more money is the order of the day.
Because it is the bedrock of economic development in the country.
Because it is the backbone of each and I mean, I see it that way. It's not about only learning finance, but it is living finance.
Happy Teachers' Day to all the teachers of the Jamaica Stock Exchange eCampus, faculty members, those who teach in our various programs and courses. I wish for you a happy Teachers' Day.
Okay, I just sent the money. I'll WhatsApp you the tracking number.
Thanks, Daddy. I can't wait to buy that PS5.
Listen to me. Your birthday money is not just for spending. You remember what I told your mom? Remember to open the bank account immediately after collecting the money. Your mom has her ID, TRN, proof of address, proof of income, and your school ID.
I'm not an adult yet, so Mommy will have to open the account with me.
Yes. Anyways, I'm headed back to work, so call me later. I love you guys.
This financial literacy tip is brought to you by Bank of Jamaica, promoting financial inclusion. For more information, visit our BOJ Real Talk playlist on our YouTube channel.
You're watching CBX Caribbean Business Exchange. Your region, your business.